All right, so I'm Jake Bogie. I'm here to talk about the Pivotal platform and the AWS Service Broker. So I'm a cloud platform architect with Pivotal. I work directly with our AWS team and kind of help our customers understand what Pivotal and AWS are doing together. One of the interesting things that we do that a lot of folks really aren't aware of is we actually have a published service broker that's available out on GitHub, where customers can actually broker AWS Native Services directly into the Pivotal platform in a way that helps developers become more efficient at consuming services and helps operations teams set standards and set guidelines for how services are consumed and how they're secured. So kind of want to walk everybody through this service broker today and give you an idea of what we're doing, what it's addressing, and what are some of the things that you can expect out of the service broker going forward. So a lot of our customers at Pivotal and AWS are dealing with challenges of getting product to market quicker and being able to develop software in a way that is more efficient and faster to deliver the value back to their business users. And what we see is in a lot of cases, there's still kind of a disconnect between platform teams and development teams when it comes to brokering services from AWS directly into the Pivotal platform. So if we think about it, there's a lot of services that are native to AWS that you can consume inside of the Pivotal platform, but a lot of teams are still actually going outside of the Pivotal platform to consume those services, and that's where some of these challenges and some of these security concerns end up coming from. So what we'd like to do is kind of show an idea, or show you all this idea that we've got around taking a service broker that works on the Pivotal platform and leveraging it to give your development teams the autonomy and the ability to consume cloud-native services directly from AWS inside of the Pivotal platform. And we believe that focusing on the software and focusing on the actual product that you're creating is more valuable than building the platform and building the services that your end users will consume inside of the platform. And what it does is it really kind of helps your consumers, your development teams, be more efficient at writing their code and consuming the AWS services, while your operation teams can still set certain types of plans, certain types of security models, and certain types of governance models that make it easier for you to have those teams, the development teams, be more autonomous and consume the services on their own. So if you were to actually go out and try to build the platform on your own using AWS services, there's going to be a vast majority of services that you're going to have expertise in, and not only that, but also have governance and security models built around. So there's quite a few different ways that consumers are actually taking these services and trying to build out platforms, when really consuming the Pivotal platform abstracts away a lot of those services and delivers a direct-to-developer experience that is inherently faster and easier for developers to get code out into production or get code out into areas where they've got the ability to bind native services directly to the platform, bind native services directly to their applications, and actually begin delivering value a lot quicker. So the Pivotal platform layers on top of a handful of services directly inside of the AWS cloud. So things like EC2, S3, Route 53, and quite a few other different services to actually create that dial tone or that abstraction layer that your development teams would then interact with. And the platform itself then goes on and delivers back to your development teams things like orchestration, registration of applications, storage of those applications, and actual delivery of those applications out into certain level environments, whether it be production, testing, development, you name it. And it does it in a way where your development teams have got the ability to just push code directly to a platform, and then the platform will then bundle that code up into a way that it's easy for the platform to deliver it out across multiple regions, multiple availability zones, and do it in a way where routing and deployment topologies and standards are actually accounted for. So the focus really is, we've got the platform, but today we want to talk about what are some of those native services that your development teams are looking to consume that aren't integrated into the platform. So if we look over on the left-hand side, we've kind of got this column that shows AWS native services that are being brokered into the Pivotal platform by a service broker. So what the service broker is basically doing is acting as an application itself inside of the Pivotal platform to deliver direct to your development teams a subset of services that they can leverage right from their CI/CD pipelines or directly from a command line interface. So things like S3, KMS, DynamoDB, RDS, Poly. There's a whole litany of these services. In fact, there's actually 26 services currently supported right now where operations teams can build out service plans for these services, publish them into the different environments available to those developers, and then the developers can actually subscribe to those services independently without having to actually go out and build their own services outside of the platform. So what's kind of cool about this is you've got an ops team that's thinking about governance and compliance and security, and how do I actually keep my teams from going outside of the realm of governance and compliance and building things that might not actually fit, and development teams that are now enabled to actually just go out and consume services. So the AWS Service Broker is currently being written and developed by the AWS Labs team and folks like you. It's a community project, so it's actually out on GitHub, and we encourage everybody to take part in committing to this project. Not only that, but giving us feedback along the way. So putting issues in, putting PRs in, putting things in that actually mean value to you, because that's really the way that we learn what services our customers are consuming and what services that they'd like to be consuming through the service broker. So it really is a call to the community here that, hey, if you guys want to see this service broker actually formed into a certain fashion, it's up to you to come to this community and help us figure out which way that's going to go. So we'll kind of go through a quick run through of what a provisioning and binding process looks like for consuming a service from a developer or from an application directly. And we'll touch on some of the interesting features that the service broker provides back to your teams in doing so. So here on the left, we see the actual platform itself, and on the right, we've got the AWS services. And in between the two of them is the broker that's actually brokering the service connections between your applications and the Amazon Native Services. So what happens is a development team comes along and says, hey, I've got an application that I want to push and consume services with that application. So we do a CF push. We actually get the application out to the platform. From there, it says, hey, there's actually a service in the catalog that I need to bind or address with this application. So let me provision that service. At the time of that provision request, the service broker receives it from the platform and then reaches out to AWS and through CloudFormation creates an application stack for that service that your development team has asked for. So once we've got a creation complete from CloudFormation and the new service is up and running, we get the response back into the marketplace and into the application that says, hey, my service is complete. The application is ready to consume that service. We're good. So we bind it now. I've got an app running. I've got a service that's created. Let's bind the application to that service and actually get it running with that new service. So the application will automatically say, hey, let's bind the service. We send the bind request out to the service broker, at which point in time, the service broker then goes to AWS and says, hey, what are the variables that I need to know? So what are the credentials? What are the different places that this service is running in? What are some of the regions or availability zones that it's running in? And pass that information back to the platform so that the platform's aware of it. So we actually get back the binding credentials from the service broker and store them in the platform without those credentials actually being exposed out to the developers or out to any form or place where they could potentially be breached or compromised. So this is kind of cool because now I've got this way of securing credentials for services that are being consumed on demand. So the broker itself is basically providing that governance, providing that security layer, and that model for where developers have this self-service way of consuming these services, and the operation teams have this way of saying, hey, I know that this is being secured and stored in the platform itself. When we have an event where we might need to rotate credentials, this is where things get really interesting. So in a lot of cases, folks will have to actually either re-push an application with new credentials in a lot of traditional models, or they might actually have to go out and change things manually inside of configuration files, or even directly at the services themselves for those new credentials to be bound to their applications. The service broker and the Pivotal platform allow you to just unbind a service and rebind a service without interrupting the application. And during that unbinding and rebinding process, new credentials are rotated into the platform. So I've got customers that actually have hundreds of applications that are out and running, and when they need to do a credential rotation inside of the platform, they actually script the entire process of unbinding those services from those applications and rebinding those services to those applications, hence getting brand new credentials into the platform and into those applications themselves. So I hope this presentation was helpful to you all in understanding how the AWS Service Broker and the Pivotal platform work together. And feel free to stop by and ask any questions on how we can help you accelerate your cloud native journey. Thank you.